Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another edition of an interview here at Down in the Valley, and we have another special guest. Who's one of the first 3 to 4 signings of this club of the RGV Red Crowns. It is Mr. Zack Hargreaves, and sir, how you doing?
Good, mate. Yeah, good. Just getting used to living in the valley and the heat. Yeah, mate. I'm really enjoying it, loving it so far.
That is awesome, and of course, just uh, tell us a little bit about yourself because you're from England. You decided to come over here, play some soccer in the U.S., which is it's just to me it's not necessarily crazy, but it just seems like also not unnatural. But it's not only you that's done that, Mr. Jack. Just a lot of players have ended up doing that. So what? Just tell us a little bit about yourself to just begin with.
Yeah, I'm from Bury, North Manchester in England. Grew up playing. My family are big Burnley fans, so I've always been a massive Burnley fan. Started watching them when I was 3 or 4, something like that, and that's where my love for the game started, really. Um, and then I started playing in the academy when I was young at Burnley. Ended up getting released when I was 14, 15. Um, and then, then after that, I wasn't really sure what to do. I ended up coming over here for college. Had a long journey in college, 3 very different schools. And then after I finished at Missouri State, played in Savannah for 2 years, and then Ares gave me the call, spoke with Jamal, and I ended up coming here, which I'm glad about because it's been brilliant so far.
That's awesome. And you mentioned, of course, the academy. I know Jack Crichton also on our last interview that we had, he talked a little bit about it, of course, how different it was from, playing in England to playing in the US. Can you kind of like take us through, especially that academy rank? Because from a person's perspective from the US, it's completely different, like we mentioned before, from US to England, having that type of club academy sort of thing.
Mm. Yeah, to be fair, I would say being in the academy at Burnley is probably similar to being in academy for an MLS club here. I think there's a lot of similarities in that. From being at the Clovers, we played against some MLS teams and like the under 23s, and then obviously last week we played against FC Dallas under 23s. Um, you're in a very rigid system. Everybody knows what you're doing. Everything's planned. Similar to that at home in the academy environment. Say the key difference at home is when you end up getting released or you don't quite make it and you end up going into men's football. The pyramid at home is totally different. So when I got released from Burnley, I ended up going into the 7th tier with a team that was local to my house in Bury. And that's probably where I learned more about football, to be honest. And I was at Burnley for 5, 6 years, but 1 or 2 years in what we call non-league taught me about the game, really, how to win matches and the dark arts of the game and how to lead properly and stuff on the field.
That's great. And so, of course, through that career, um, right after that, that's when, of course, you ended up moving to college.
Hmm.
If I had
Yes,
okay,
I did a year or two in non-league in England after I got released from Burnley, and then I moved to college. Yeah.
okay. Eh, I mean, absolutely incredible in that note, and of course, just coming here, you didn't try and look for any clubs potentially in England. What was that? Why did you decide to move to the US instead of looking for more clubs like being in I know the 7th tier isn't the best, but just trying to go through that rank of trying to just improve and move up the ladder just like I guess any other team would try to move up the ladder and get to league football.
Mm. To be fair, when I was playing non-league, I was playing for the county team as well, the under-18s, Lancashire, which is that's where I'm from. And after one of our games, a guy came in and had like a talk with us, and he said, "You should consider going to America. You can get a free degree. The level is good in college. You know, it can lead to playing professional and things after." And I thought, yeah, maybe. Like, me, I didn't really think too much about it, you know. But I sent him some clips, and he clipped it down, and he sent it around to some coaches in America, and a couple got back to me and just said, "Listen, this is what we offer. This is what we do. We'll give you this amount of money. You can get a degree, stuff like that." And I thought, it sounds good. So obviously, I spoke to my family. I weighed it up for 7 or 8 months, and then I just went for it. To be honest, I'm glad I did, because football-wise, it's been brilliant. I've learned so much, and English football's always going to be there, you know. And I met my wife out here in America, so it's been good. It's been good, yeah.
That is good. So, I mean, starting off, yeah, you moved to what was that adjustment like, to be fair? Even before you moved to America, like, what was that difference like, especially since you're gonna be playing more kind of, I guess, sort of up north or up centrally in the US?
The difference at first moving UK to America was tough. That was tough, mate. To be honest, not my first semester. The first semester, so many things are happening, and your first semester's a fall one, so you're in season, and it because you're so busy, you kind of just obviously you don't forget you're not at home, but there's so many things to occupy your mind that the time goes by really fast. Then the following spring, I got really homesick, and I had to go home earlier. And then I had a full summer at home, and then when I came back, I seemed to have gotten over it, and I was fine from then on.
That's it's really interesting as well because yeah, I I, I can't imagine, of course, moving literally across a whole entire ocean over to a different country just to, of course, play the beautiful game. But I mean, you were able to do it, and that's fantastic. And so, I guess talk about for I mean the play style as well. That must have been pretty different from that side. But were you able to not only from just I guess really what I'm trying to say is how different was the playing style from, of course, being in that play playing, I guess, from those academy teams or whatever to playing in college soccer because I've heard it's a pretty big difference even from that seventh tier to here.
Yeah, there's there is differences. I think from non-league, so the seventh tier where I was playing, it's more hands off from coaches. Coaches just tell you what they expect, and then they expect you to go and do it. I think, to be fair, from my experiences at least in college, especially at Missouri State, um, we had a coaching staff that was very detailed, and they give you everything exactly how they wanted you to play, and it was outlined clearly. At home in non-league, it's more go out there. If you're a midfielder, deal with the midfield and make sure we get the 3 points. You know, whereas college was more film was more detailed. Our playing style was very clear to everybody. So yeah, I mean, big differences, but I think at the same time, it also depends where you go. Like, you could end up uh, at a team in England with a coach who is very detailed as well. I think just in my experience, it was different. But I also think there might be some college coaches that are not as detailed as what our coach was at Missouri State, you know? Um, so I think it just depends on your personal journey, to be honest, and the teams that you end up at. But yeah, there was big differences.
Gotcha. Yeah, let's stay on Missouri State for a bit. So, like, what was I know you talked about the coach being really well, but what was it like playing with the teammates? What was that culture like, especially because I know that you've talked really good things about how the and we'll get to it in a little bit, but how the RGV Red Crowns have been with that type of culture. How was that culture like with with your teammates at Missouri State, especially?
Oh, it was brilliant. We had an unbelievable group. I still miss that, to be honest, because we had, it was a type of culture where like um, everybody knew that at training the standards were going to be really high because the coaching staff were very demanding, which was great. Um, but then we also socialized together. Um, so we had a really, really good bond. And obviously, it helps when you're winning games. We had a good record, and the school's doing really well on the soccer side. So obviously, that helps. So you're training well, you're living with your friends and socializing with them, and you're winning games. So it was perfect, really.
That is that does sound perfect. If you could tell, who was the favorite? Who was like your most favorite opponent that you all got to play, if you can remember or anything like that?
Probably have to be when we won our conference final. We beat Evansville 1-0. Um, yeah, that was brilliant. That was brilliant, mate. And obviously that took us to nationals. But yeah, we had a really good season, and there was loads of ups. Um, we ended up losing to Creighton 2-1 in nationals, which that game could have gone either way. But they had a really good team. They went all the way to, I think they went all the way to the final of the College Cup. And we just got edged out by them 2-1. We were beating them. They scored two late goals. Um, but yeah, I'd say the conference final was probably the highlight. Yeah.
That is awesome because yeah, even it's crazy. You'd think that even here, where of course we live, which is so many channels for sports and all of that, guess what? Not a lot of us would get to watch that. Not only, I mean, the College Cup would be nationally televised, but for the rest of the matches, it was really difficult to find all of those when the tournament comes around, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But um, I mean, I kind of do recall that College Cup in a way a couple of years ago. But
Hmm.
so so after that, of course, were you sort of constantly looking for a potential next step into your career for soccer, or did you like what was that like to try and were you always going to try and go to that next level to be exact?
Yeah, yeah. I think after Missouri State, well, while I was at Missouri State, I knew that I wanted to play after college and do everything that I could to do that. I wasn't sure where that would be, to be honest. Didn't know if that'd be back in England or here in America. But a couple of opportunities came up, and I decided to stay. My wife is here, so that makes it easier. Um, and an opportunity came up in Savannah, and at that time, it was a bit of a tricky one. Um, I didn't have my work authorization on my visa to stay here yet, so the club at Savannah were brilliant. They understood my situation, and they said, "Look, we'll take you in anyway. We'll house you. You can train with us, everything like that. And whenever it comes in, then you can play." And luckily, my work authorization came in the day before the first game of the season, so I was able to play every game, which was brilliant. And yeah, I loved it in Savannah. To be honest, I really enjoyed it. We had tough times at times on the field, but I think when you're a new club at the professional level, then it's hard. It's hard at first, but we had a lot of good times as well, and I love living in the area. So yeah, good memories there.
It does sound like it, of course, and Nisa to me as well hasn't necessarily been in at least America hasn't been told that it's an amazing um conference or division, I should say. So, did you find any problems with Nisa really, or was it just really? Did it feel like it was just smooth sailing because you were just with even a new club with players that seemed to gel together well?
I think yeah, there was some issues, and it's been pretty well documented the things that happened with Nisa, and games getting cancelled and some financial issues and stuff like that. And then obviously this season the league didn't happen, which was a shock for a few of us. But we knew the issues that were happening within Nisa, so I was hoping that this season would happen, obviously. But then when it didn't, it was kind of like we can see how that would happen with Nisa, you know. But to be fair, my first year at the Clovers was like they looked after us brilliant. There wasn't really any issues in terms of the league and things like that. But the second year, there was a few issues, yeah, in terms of finances and, like I've already said, games being cancelled, which was sad really because I think there was some good clubs in that league, and I think Savannah can have a really good club. It just needs somebody to believe in it and take it forward. So yeah.
I 100% agree on that. And so, yeah, I guess kind of staying with the Clovers for a bit because, yeah, that first year you talked about it. Like, what what was your best moment, I should say, for that, I guess, first year kind of on that club? Because, I mean, we know, especially from you playing here, that how well of a midfielder you are. And so, what was that kind of like?
So my best moment in the first year, it took us a while to get to grips with the league, to be honest, and we had a few additions. Jack came in, which helped. We had a few other players more experienced that came in and helped us, and we finished the season a lot stronger than we started. In the last game of the season, we beat Chattanooga, and I scored the winner. And they were the strongest team in our league. They're good. They went on to MLS Next Pro, and yeah, I mean that was probably my highlight of the season, to be honest, beating them on the last day because they wanted to win. They really wanted to win that game. For us, it didn't matter because we didn't make the playoffs, but they needed to win and we beat them. So that was good.
That is good. And so, how was it having, of course, when Jack was added? Was it like almost an instant bond between you and him? Because I know he talked a little bit in the interview of how you especially helped him have an opportunity to go over to the RGV Red Crowns as well. So, like, when did, if it did, when did that bond kind of start on that club?
Yeah, I mean we're from similar area, and when you're away in a totally different place to somebody from where you're from, you just chat, you just talk to them straight away. You know how it is because you have so many things in common. Played at a similar level at home, um, so yeah, we became mates pretty quick. But also, I think on the field, he helps me get on the ball because he's always looking to find my feet, and not a lot of goalies will do that because it's a risk for them, you know. To play passes into the midfield, yes, has to be a level of trust. Some goalies don't want to lose it on the edge of the box, or they don't want to risk playing it into the midfield because we might get counter attack, stuff like that. But obviously, I'm always asking for the ball, and he's willing a lot of the time to give it to me, so that helps. Yeah.
That does sound like it does help. And so, of course, after you have the 2 seasons with Savannah, how did this offer, or how did the situation of you knowing that you needed to move and wanted to probably progress your career, even if it was just in the summer, how did the call kind of come about? How did this opportunity of you being able to come down to the Valley, a even crazier place than I'd say Savannah, and maybe potentially a little hotter. How did that really just come about, and you were able to come down to Harlingen and play?
So the way it happened is, so after Nisa didn't happen, um, the season was probably due to start in late March, I think, and we found out that it wasn't happening probably the beginning of March. So it's super late, and it didn't give anybody any time to plan anything else. Or I think they were the rough dates. But either way, it happened really late, and so then you're left in a pickle because all the USL 1 teams, their rosters are full. It's too late to trial and things like that. So what happened was I got a call from Ares, who's the technical director here, And I've previously played for Ares, so I played with him at Texas United, who were a USL2 team, played there in 2021 and 2022. So I have a really close relationship with Ares because he looked after me a lot through that. And that actually helped me get my move to Missouri State, that summer league team. We had a good experience and a good team and a good group and things like that. So yeah, Ares gave me a call. He said, "Listen, we've got a really interesting project in the Valley." He said, "We've got good people running it. The support for it's been really good." He said, "Just come down and try it because I've heard what's happened with Nisa." And I said, "Brilliant." I said, "I'm in. If there's people that believe in it and the community's on board, and we can have a good season," I said, "I'm 100% there, and I'll believe in it, and we'll do everything we can to make it a success, and try and get the people involved in the area." I think that's the main thing, getting the community involved, making sure they enjoy the games. And yeah, to be honest, everything's been brilliant. Like, everything's gone to plan. I think we've put ourselves in a situation now where if we don't make playoffs from here, we'll be really disappointed, even though it's our first year. I think we've put ourselves in a good position, and everybody wants to kick on, and I'm sure we will. So yeah, everything's gone to plan, and that's how I ended up here. And Jamal's been brilliant since I got here. He's done such a good job with getting local businesses and everybody in the area to know about the club and putting a good experience for people on match days. I think that's brilliant. So hopefully that continues.
100% agree on that. And I know I got to meet you the first day that you all got to see the stadium. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess not necessarily. Well, yeah, I guess talk us through that first time that you got to see the stadium play, and of course, on a very difficult soccer field, but at that same time, also one that used to be a baseball field, which somehow, some way, it's very common now to have that sort of situation, at least here in U.S., where baseball fields get turned into soccer fields.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've seen that a few times. But yeah, the first time we saw it, I mean, it's brilliant. The stadium, I think, like I was telling Jack, like Jack's not played at home yet. But when you see it and everybody's involved and the atmosphere is brilliant. So yeah, I've loved it. That's probably been my favorite thing about the summer: the home games, and the atmosphere, and everybody being there, everybody being involved. I love that side of the game. Um, so yeah, mate. Obviously, we know about the field, and that's a work in progress. It's just we've got to deal with it. Still got to win games. It's the same for both teams, and that's just how it is. I think it changes our style a little bit because it's tough to pass on it, and everybody knows that, and that's fine. But as long as we win games, to me, it don't matter about the surface. Like we were touching on it the other day. We went up to FC Dallas, and the surface there wasn't great. So I mean, it's just one of them. You've just got to deal with it and win games. As simple as that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. But yeah, you get to play, and I guess, yeah, let's dive straight into that match, really, because I know it's been, like you mentioned, kind of not necessarily a struggle, but from that first match against Corinthians FC to the second match against them. Well, I guess first let's touch up on this. The second match against them, how were you able to just be as calm, cool, and collected when you were at the spot to take that penalty to try and equalize the game there?
So I took penalties for the Clovers, and fingers. I'm not going to say actually, but I took penalties for the Clovers, and I've done decent with them so far. But I changed up my technique for that penalty. Um, I used to and I hope there's no goalkeepers watching this.
Yeah. Don't say anything that would give something away.
No,
But like,
I'm
just
only joking. But yeah, mate, I used to just walk up to it. I'd have my spot in my head where I'm going, and I just hit it with pace, as hard as I can, and hope it goes in the corner, and hope the goalkeeper doesn't go the right way. And it worked every time. But I thought to myself, actually, while I was on the break not playing, it's kind of about luck. Because if a goalkeeper goes the right way and he makes a decent save, then I've missed, you know.
Yeah.
So that technique that I did against Corinthians was the first time I did it. Um, Luckily, it just went in. But the thought process behind that is with the stutter on the run up, it puts the goalie in a tough situation because then the goalie can't dive early. So even if your shot doesn't go right in the corner or with as much pace, the goalie can't get down until you kick it, which makes
Yeah.
it very difficult for him. And to be honest, that penalty, if I didn't stutter, he probably saves it. Because I stuttered, he gets down a little bit later, and he just can't quite keep it out. So yeah, hopefully, if I get any more penalties, they keep going in the back of the net. That's the main thing. So
Yeah, of course. And I mean, yes, unfortunately, you all don't end up winning that match. But what was that kind of mentality after the match? Because it just seemed like everyone seemed frustrated, but not at each other, just frustrated that they didn't get the win. And then it just felt like something switched even after the match. Because I was talking to Vicente because I'm really close to him. He was just like, "Yeah, I'm upset, but I I feel like we're gonna do really well against Central Dallas or Central
yeah,
Texas," and then just from then on, it just seemed like something switched and something was just unlocked for you all.
yeah. I think in that game in particular, I think we deserve more out of the game. To be honest, and I think we all knew that. I don't think we deserve to be on the losing end in terms of chances created in that game. So we were frustrated, and we thought we deserved more. But that happens in soccer, you know. If you miss the details in that game, we missed details on set pieces. We just got done on a free kick cross and a corner. Um, and even if you dominate a game, you know, we knew if you go to sleep for a second on set pieces, you can be punished. So that was probably the main frustration. But at the same time, we knew we did more than enough to win that game. So we probably took confidence from it because that team has beaten everybody else. I think, or I think they've had a stutter recently, but they were top of the league. Um, so yeah, we knew we could deal with the best teams in the league, and then we showed that against FC Dallas. So yeah, even though it was a frustrating one on the night, we knew we did more than enough to beat a good team at this level, and then we showed that. So
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of want to just jump straight. Yes, you all got the victory against Central Texas, that first road match on that Saturday, but then it was that double header. And of course, you started in the FC Dallas match. You didn't start in the Tyler FC match.
mm,
So, how was that FC Dallas match? Because I know we have the famous line from Jack Crichton, we weren't showed respect, basically. And so, did you feel that lack of respect as well when you went up to FC Dallas?
yeah, we knew straight away. And it's funny as players, you look for little things like that. But we could see it. You could see it a mile off. I mean, if you were there, you would have, if you'd looked closely, like at their attitudes before the game and the way they were, it was clear. And sometimes, like I said to the boys in the changing room, academy boys, and it's the same in England. Everything's on a plate for them. You know, they don't. They know they're going to play. They do film. They have a system. They have top people involved all around them, whether it's physios, coaches, analysts, whatever. Um, and sometimes they can become comfortable. And obviously, we're coming up, brand new club from the valley. They might think they were just going to walk all over us, and that's how it looked. So we use that. We try to be smart with it and say, look, this is how they're thinking. You know, they think they're going to walk all over us. And yeah, we used it and it worked.
Yeah. Interesting. Of course, yeah, the 2-0, and then we Edson and I, we watched that match back just a little bit because there is a part in the match. I don't know if you were on the field at this time. I'll have to look back, but was there an incident where, or I mean, there was where there were two players, one from FC Dallas and one from the RGV Red Crowns. They got in each
Yeah.
other's faces, and one of them did that little. thing of like I'm this much taller than you,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so did that have like
I,
I don't know, was there just like an extra effort or something like that after? Or?
I think, to be honest, like from the way I was thinking at that moment in the game, so that was at 2-0 in the second half. I don't know what minute. I'm guessing it was about, if I was to guess, between 55 and 65. And when stuff like that happens, you know you've got the opposition. Like, I can't remember how it started. I don't know, but it was with Diego, and the kid got in his face and tried to kick off and stuff. Obviously, their kid's frustrated. But when that happens, if you do it in the right way, you know they're frustrated. You can play on it a little bit. But yeah, stuff like that. If you can use it to wind the opposition up a little bit, brilliant. You just got to make sure you don't get sent off or a yellow or into any trouble like that. But when that happened, that was probably good for us because we knew they were frustrated in that moment. So
Of course, and yeah, final couple of questions here because of course you all played against Tyler FC, and that match ended up being somewhat of an instant classic for you all. The most or a lot of stuff ended up happening. The team gets, of course, history made. Two players score a brace, and then also the most goals they've ever scored in a match themselves with four. But of course, also another history technically on the bad side with giving up three goals, which I believe that's the first time that this club has given up.
mm-hmm.
So I mean, I guess what was that mentality like? Because y'all were up, I believe, 3-1 at halftime, and just being able to be that resilient. Does that just show a lot from the club, or?
Yeah, it does. It does, 100%. And we knew. I mean, going into that trip where you have a game on Saturday and Sunday, if somebody would have said, "Give us 6 points," or "You're going to get 6 points," we'd have snapped your hand off. Like it didn't matter as much, especially in the second day, about the performance. Um, we just knew we had to win the game to stay in touching distance with the top of the league or with playoffs or whatever. And I think Dallas took a lot out of our legs. The FC Dallas game, that was a tough one. So we knew going into the second game that we wouldn't be at full tilt. And we made a couple of changes to the team, and that makes it tricky sometimes. But yeah, I mean, to go from playing 90 on Saturday to playing a game the next day is extremely difficult. But the lads did brilliant. The lads did brilliant. 3-1 up at half time. They had a really strong first half. And then obviously as the game goes on, it's going to catch up with you a little bit when you've played 90 minutes the day before. So I think the main thing was get 3 points, get out of there, and then we train this week and we get ready for Saturday. But yeah, there was things in that tested our resilience for sure.
That is cool. Of course, yeah. Final question, I guess, kind of is. So, how was this mentality, that road trip, been able to really set you all up for this homestand of? Well, yes, it is this Saturday for OFC, and then y'all after that, I believe, play Wednesday, and then I believe the final home match a week from Saturday. So, like, how is that all set the stage for these final 3 home matches?
Yeah, the away trip went perfect, and everybody's looking forward to the home games. It couldn't that little part of the season couldn't have gone better, to be honest. But we know now we have to kick on. Like, it means nothing if we don't go and win this next game. I think the next one's a very big game against Foro, and we all know that. So it's just about doing the things just carrying on the good things that we've been doing, and yeah, let the result take care of itself. And yeah, I'm confident that we can do it. The boys are confident. Everyone's been training well this week. Obviously, we got our last session tonight, pre-match. So we're looking forward to it, and looking forward to seeing the home fans again in the stadium. Can't wait for that, to be honest.
That's awesome. And well, of course, as always, right before we end the interview, just I mean, the floor is yours to say anything you'd like to say for maybe this Saturday, or shout anyone out that you like.
Oh, shout out. Probably my wife, Chloe, for putting up with me being away, to be honest. That's probably the biggest one. But no, I think uh, yeah, I'm looking forward to it with all the boys. I'm hoping everybody's confident and we can take everything we've done going forward and onto Saturday and get the 3 points. Yeah.
That is awesome. Well, Mr. Zack Hargreaves, thank you so very much for coming on and accepting the invite. I've been looking forward to speaking to you more since the start of the season because I knew you'd have a great story to tell, and sure enough, you really have. And I know that there's probably still a lot more to talk about, but I mean, yeah, I don't want to hold up any more of your time. But thank you so much for coming on, sir.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for having the chat with me.
Of course. Well, until next time, everyone, thank you all so very much for watching. We will see you all very soon at the home matches. That will be Saturday, Wednesday, and the following Saturday after that, 7:30 p.m., everybody. Thank you.